Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my 1967 MGB GT. Now it's been a while since I've made a video, and in fact the last one I did was my trip to the Isle of Skye back in February, with the videos coming out throughout March, and there's been a little bit going on since then which I'll go into later in this video when we go out for a bit of a drive. But before we do that, this old car needs a bit of a wash, since it's not actually had that many washes since I've come back from that trip sort of 5 or 6 months ago, and I also need to fix an exhaust leak that developed on that trip before taking it for a spin. So let's get on with that. Okay, so this is looking under the car, and I've got it supported by a jack, and there is actually an axle stand here as well, but I'm not going to really get too far under it. But it's a good view of my exhaust system actually. So right at the front here, you can see the manifold or downpipe, whatever you want to call it, come here and connect to the exhaust system with this sort of flange here. And these flanges, as I've explained in previous videos, they're not actually that good at keeping a seal, just because I think the exhaust gases can kind of get out of here rather than the sleeve joints where it's a bit harder to. Maybe I'm doing things wrong, but I've used the exhaust paste and all sorts and it still doesn't seem to make a big difference. So it's locating which one of these is leaking, and I don't think it's this front one, but if we look here, this second one, it looks like it's a little bit misaligned. I don't know if you can really see that, but you can see the lip of this is a bit of a step and the gasket's all sort of crumbling around it. So it could be that one that's at fault, but I'll start the car up and then I'll put my hand around it and see if I can feel a breeze. So hopefully you can hear me over the din, and the car's cold so it's a little bit jumpy, but if I look here, there's no breeze on my hand from that joint, so it's not that one. But on this one, like I suspected, if I put my hand near it, you might be able to tell that it's gas coming out and it's hot on my hand. So definitely that one at fault. So I'll get on with replacing that. Hopefully 2 bolts and a new gasket. Right, so that wasn't very pretty. I had to cut the bolts off. Why is it the simplest jobs always seem to take the most effort? So yeah, I think just because of temperature differences and, you know, not very expensive components, these things sort of rust in not very much time. So being on an exhaust, they've just sort of seized shut. I tried all sorts to try and loosen these off and didn't really work. So cutting them off is fine. I've got some spare ones which I got with a spare fixing kit which I bought to get some extra gaskets. So I'll get some spare bolts, brand new hardware, which is always good, and I'll get this back together. Look under here so we can kind of see this is the exhaust flange going to drop down now, and I need to put that back up, new gasket, some exhaust paste, get that back together, and hopefully it will stay sealed this time for a little while. I'll have to get a bit of sandpaper or something and just clean up these surfaces just so the gasket seats properly, but hopefully we'll be back on the road very shortly. Okay, so that's all buttoned up now, and I should be able to see, hopefully, new hardware there, some exhaust paste squirting out, so I probably used a bit too much, but hopefully that'll seal it up quite nicely. No air escape from there, and bit of a wibbly wobbly exhaust there, but yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Just low revs. It sounds alright as well. So that should be good enough to go to Goodwood next week. But yeah, that exhaust paste needs to harden with a bit of heat, so let's get out for a drive. Okay, so we're back out in the MG, and it does feel pretty good to be out in the MG for just a pleasure drive. Oh, find this cyclist. Because the times I've used it recently have been more for like going places or to do something, so to drive just for the sheer pleasure of driving is a rare treat really. So I guess I should try and catch you up on what's been going on with my cars and kind of things I've done since I last saw you coming back from the Isle of Skye. And as you know, I've not done a lot of videos, and there is a reason for that, and that is I've had to work, I've had to look after my kids and been on various holidays and that sort of thing, and not being a full-time YouTuber, you know, it's sometimes quite hard to set aside time to think about the videos, film them, edit them, etc. So I used to get really sort of beaten up, like in my mind, about not producing the content, because people would say, oh, you know, you haven't done a video for a while, what's going on? But I do have to remember that this is just a hobby for me, and hobbies should be fun. So if I'm getting stressed out about making content all the time, then it kind of, yeah, takes the fun out of it, and then I kind of feel a bit loath to make it. So yeah, I mean, a bit of realisation for myself that I'm not a professional YouTuber, and I'm very unlikely to be based on how popular the videos are. But you know, I'm not going to give up making YouTube videos. It's something I do enjoy, but that is going to be the criteria for making them, the enjoyment factor. So if I've got something that I want to share with people that I'm either proud of or something I think people will enjoy, then of course I'll make a video and I'll share it with you. But you know, commitment to a weekly video or even 2 weekly is just not something that I can really fit in, as well as, you know, doing things I'm supposed to do as an employee or a father, and you know, look after my kids. I'd much rather spend time with my family than, you know, get stressed about making videos every week, which might not even be that enjoyable because I haven't really had as much time to put thought into it. So yeah, hopefully not such a depressing update as all that. I think it's the right decision, and like I say, I'm not gonna stop making videos. And in fact, it's taken me such a long time to make this one that I've filmed a few other videos that are queued up behind it. So I've got lots of updates coming over the next few weeks. I just don't think I'll be able to maintain that sort of cadence of video releases. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think, you know, releasing stuff I've put a bit more thought into, or things that are a bit more significant to report on, I think that's probably a better way to go anyway. So yeah, anyway, when I left you last, it was at the end of the Isle of Skye, and shortly after that I went on a skiing holiday with my family, which was really nice. But straight after that skiing holiday was the members meeting, the Goodwood members meeting. They sort of tout it as the most exclusive race meeting in the world, because it's just the members who are allowed to go, as well as fellowship and that sort of thing. And I really struggled to find someone to go with, because I had 2 tickets, but nobody seemed to want to go with me, either because of they had plans, or they didn't feel like it was something that they'd enjoy. But yeah, in the end I went on kind of on my own and camped, and then somebody joined me on the day for Saturday. I only had a 1-day ticket, even though I had a camping ticket, because I didn't want to have to worry about getting back after a few drinks and stuff. But it was a really great time. I thought about filming it, but because I was with someone on the Saturday, I thought it was a bit antisocial to start just getting my camera out and not talk to them. But yeah, it was a great event. Really good to see some of the sidecars that came out. I hadn't seen that type of racing before up close, and that was really exciting. So that was cool. And then I was supposed to, the week after, go to the April Vista Heritage Sunday Scramble, which I didn't go to because I hadn't fixed the exhaust leak on this car, and because I'd just been to the members meeting, I thought I'd been neglecting spending time with my family a little bit, so I thought I'd spend the weekend with them instead, which is good. And then we kind of got into summer, but summer never really arrived, so weather did sort of hamper some of my plans for making videos, especially in the MG. And I was also focusing on motorcycling, so as we got into June, I'd been practicing a lot on my 125 in preparation for my motorbike test, which I passed in June, which is very exciting. So I've got a full motorbike license now, so I can buy any motorbike I like in theory and kill myself on it. Well, hopefully not. But yeah, that's some update that I'm going to bring, with kind of an update on the 125 probably in a couple of weeks. So look out for that. Kind of let you know what's happening there. Yeah, and then the MG itself, the one I'm sitting in now, like I said, I've kind of been trying to get that exhaust leak fixed to take out for a drive, which seems to have just taken so long. And I've got the Goodwood Revival next week, which I hopefully will film that, and I'll be able to bring that to you. The weather forecast is looking pretty shocking though, so I don't know what that's going to be like. So it's a similar format to what I did last year, and that'll be taking the Discovery as our camping vehicle. And this will just be there just to it will get me there on the Thursday, and then put it in the classic car park for people to look at, even though it's showing signs of its age now. So I suppose I should elaborate on that. So when I was washing it before, I noticed that a bit of rust was coming through on the MG, and when I bought this car it was completely covered in rust, and I've had this car now for about, well, almost 12 years, and when I got it, yeah, covered in rust. I had it sort of lightly restored and resprayed, and that must be about 9 years ago now. So it's lasted all right, like 9 years being left outside and used in all weathers. So it's what I expected, and eventually rust would start coming through, and it has. But yeah, that just kind of has put that as something I've got to do in the near future. It's probably queued up behind the Lotus, to be fair. Doing a bit more of another sort of restoration or light restoration on this, just to keep it looking smart. But yeah, money is a thing, so I think I'm going to focus more on the Lotus in the short term, and then this will be a long-term thing to get it sort of up to scratch. Yeah, so but I guess the car being a little bit rusty and not perfect, that kind of gives me an excuse to take it places which you wouldn't want to take a pristine car. So Isle of Skye trip was one example, but there's probably other places I should go while the car is in a not pristine state, just to sort of see a classic car sort of, in a place you wouldn't normally expect to see one. So I had sort of visions of, you know, driving it to the North Pole or something like that, but yeah, I think that's probably too far to be able to get time off work and away from family and stuff, so probably not going to happen. But yeah, I don't know where else I could take it, which would be a fun place to go that people would want to see. Kind of done a lot of places in the UK, so maybe somewhere abroad would be good. Yeah, maybe not to the North Pole, but maybe Scandinavia would be quite nice, all along the fjords and stuff. Would be pretty great. But yeah, we'll just have to see whether I can do that. So I did mention the Lotus there. So to give an update on that, I hadn't done anything on it for almost a year really, since the body came off the chassis. But more recently I've been doing quite a bit of work preparing it to get the engine removed. So I'm almost there. I've just got to crane it out now, and I've got the crane. It's just finding that few hours to dedicate to just getting the engine out really. So that'll be an update I'll be able to bring you soon as well. Did I mention the Land Rover? Yeah, it's going to be our camping car. That had its MOT. It needed some rear suspension work to get through that, but nothing too bad. And the side steps on it are extremely rusty. So not an MOT fail, but it looks horrible. So they just need replacing. You can buy lots of replacements pretty easy. So I might do a video on replacing the steps. That'll be good. And then I guess that kind of leaves the Jag. It was kind of the elephant in the room, or the big cat in the room. you're being literal. I haven't done anything with it still, so I haven't driven it for over 2 years on the public roads. I keep the battery charged and I start it up every now and again, but I really don't know what I'm going to do with that car. So in its current state, I'm probably not going to get much for it if I decided to sell it. So I'd have to invest money in getting it through the MOT and sorting out any of the well, it's got an ABS problem, that's why it hasn't been MOT'd, and it's got various bodywork issues that probably need to be resolved. So yeah, even if it just had an MOT and still had the bodywork issues, I'm not going to get a whole lot of money for it. But I look at it and I sometimes see a refurbished chassis for the Lotus, or an engine rebuild for Lotus, or a new motorbike or something, rather than an amazing GT car, which it is. And I need to sort of remind myself I'm very lucky to have that car, and I should really invest time looking after it. But as I've mentioned, being someone who's got work, family, a house that needs looking after, a big garden, needs lawn mowing, all the rest of it, it's hard to find the time and the sort of space in your brain to cope with doing it. So maybe selling it is the right thing to do, to free up a bit of brain power for my other projects. But at the same time, I bought that car because I love it, and I love driving it, and I love taking it places. So it's a real conflict at the moment. But yeah, based on money and stuff, nothing's going to happen with that car realistically until beginning of next year, probably April sort of time. So it's a shame, but it's just the way it is. So I think that's kind of it in terms of vehicles and kind of what's happening with them, and kind of what's coming up next, I suppose. I know I've kind of rushed it, but you know, I've tried to not waffle on for too long. So yeah, I mean, it's just really just living life and trying to fit in my hobby where I can, and if I have any extra time, make some videos for people that you might enjoy. So yeah, I mean, I've done enough talking, I think. So what I'm going to do is just take this car on a little bit of a loop near my house that I've done quite a few times on my motorbike, and it's just quite a nice loop to do in like a lunch break or whatever, and just yeah, it's just a nice drive, and that's kind of what it's about, really. Enjoying the driving while I can, while the summer lasts. It's nearly over. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and enjoy the driving footage. Cheers, see you soon.